trying to wake everybody up this morning, especially myself. I'd like to call this October the 16th meeting of the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission to order. My name is Jim Bledsoe, and I'm chairman of the commission. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody to please turn your cell phones to vibrate. And if you do have to take a call, please step out in the lobby and do so. We'd thank you very much for that. Also, there's a tablet being passed around the room. If you would, please sign your name and any group or special interest that you're with, and that way we'll have a record of your attendance here today. I see Mr. Boyd Barker made it with us here today. We missed you yesterday, but we knew you were working. So, and Ron Crabtree's here, Quail Forever as always. Thank you, Mr. Ron. And we really appreciate everybody being here. So, at this time, I'd like to ask y'all to please stand, and Commissioner Cannon is going to lead us in our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Before the invocation, Bobby, John Gregory, we've lost two folks this week. We lost Debbie, our dispatcher, in Region 4. I believe we lost someone in Region 2.
I'm sorry, just Carlene Maddox.
I was in the midst of this, we need to remember those families and the TWRA families as well. Father God, it's just right and appropriate to begin this day saying thank you. We thank you for the chance to be here. We thank you that you've allowed us, for whatever reason, to be stewards of what you've created. I hope we do it well, and I hope you're pleased with how we go about this. In the midst of this, thank you. We pray for our men and women in uniform, whether it's military, whether it's enforcement, that you would watch over them, bless them and their families. May today be a day of just no events. Protect them, God. We pray for the families that have lost direct family members, because the TWRA family has definitely lost family members this week. I pray for the regions that are impacted. May they feel your power, your presence, and your peace this morning. Guide us today. Sometimes we think we may be wiser than what we are, and we have a way of thinking. So as we approach today, help us to come to any decision with true people. And I thank you for each and every commissioner up here. Bless me with some prayer for us. For it's in your holy name, Jesus, we pray.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Cannon. Really appreciate that. This is a full commission day, but when we go to each committee, if you want to address the commission on that topic, please come up to the front, state your name, and address either me or the chairman of that committee only, and please not any banter back and forth with the audience. And if you have a topic not on the agenda, please wait till the end, and I'll ask if there's anything else to be brought before the commission. This time, Miss Barbara, would you please call the roll for me?
Chad Baker. Jim Bledsoe.
Here.
Harold Cannon.
Here.
Jeff Cook.
Here.
Bill Cox.
Here.
Kurt Holbert. Connie King.
Here.
Jeff McMillan.
Here.
Jim Ripley.
Here.
Bill Swan. Trey Teague.
Here.
David Watson.
Here.
Jamie Woodson. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Miss Barbara. We've all got a copy of the September 18th minutes. I can read them out for you, or I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Teague. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Holbert. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there any announcements from the staff? All right. Announcements from the commission. I'd like to take this time to really tell Commissioner Watson, thank you very much. I mean, to steal Commissioner Cannon's words, you've done a yeoman's job. I mean, this is when you ask if you could kind of show us around Chattanooga, you've blown us away. So you would really want to say thank you, and I appreciate it. And awesome. So. All right.
Jim, I got something I want to say.
Okay, Mr. Cox.
And I'm sure you probably don't, you may or may not have a report on this, but 10 years ago when Katrina hit the coast, we sent a group of men down there that helped, and I think recently South Carolina had a problem, and we sent a crew or two of men over there that to me illustrates and highlights the abilities and the multifaceted jobs and qualifications that our officers have. I'm not sure if you've got a report on what they've done, if they're back, if what they ran into, but when they went to New Orleans, they risked their lives to save people and did an outstanding job. And I'd like to recognize those men that went to South Carolina, or at least get a report on what they've done.
Commissioner, at your
Thank you, Commissioner Cox, for bringing that up. Yes, I got a report out, and I got a small video here that kind of depicts it all, and I'll wrap it up with that. But yes, we got the call on Sunday, October 4th. We sent what we called Wave 1 to the South Carolina Training Center in Columbia, which included 4 men, 2 trucks, 2 boats from District 41. Those officers were Sergeant Joe Durnan, Sergeant Roy Smith, Clint Smith, and Anthony Chitwood. This wave worked with the Knoxville Fire Department and the National Guard. They worked in the Columbia area. They worked on dam breaches. They cleared homes. They cleared vehicles and performed welfare checks. And they rescued 5 folks. And they cleared the University of South Carolina campus. In addition to that, the second team was Lieutenant Jeff Prater, John Ripley, Kurt Henderson, and Ryan Rozier, and those folks were from District 42. They worked with Ashland City Fire Department, the Dixon County Fire Department, in their swift water rescue teams. They worked in the St. George area, rescuing elderly women. They did door-to-door welfare checks, and they also worked the Ridgeville area. They actually evacuated 1 lady, 2 pigs, 10 chickens, 3 goats, 4 cats, 2 dogs, and 3 people. Wave 1, this eight-man crew, they came home on Saturday, October 10th, but then they requested a second relief wave, and that second wave arrived on Saturday, October 10th at the Criminal Justice Academy. And it included District 31 officers Tony Cross, Jason Ramsey, Pete Giesling, and Johnny Poston. They worked the Columbia area, answering mission calls, emergency mission calls in the Lexington area. Then the second team of that second wave included Sergeant Ben Davis, Marty Griffin, Joe McSpadden, and Jared Coxey. They worked in the Georgetown area. They provided security and evacuation efforts in a neighborhood that consisted of over 200 people. And they had emergency evacuation of an elderly lady and 7 dogs. This wave 2 returned home October 12th, so they are safely home. Everybody's safely home. A few soiled uniforms, a few soiled hip boots, work boots, and all that. So it was an excellent mission for our guys. Incredible dedication, incredible professionalism, and Mr. Cox wrapped it up good. If I could get this to play, this was a news that hit after they got home, and it sums it up. And this is Sergeant Roy Smith. Jeff. Oh, no. I'll let you get this.
Let's see.
Not to disparage whoever invented the cow, In fact,
But why doesn't it come smoked and covered in jalapenos? And more
Sorry,
does
I got
Arby's
6
have to
seconds
do
of this.
everything around here? Properties of real hickory wood.
At least we did.
We'll invoice them for that spot.
They played yesterday.
We have burned for at least 13 hours at less than 300 degrees.
Sorry.
Then we don't need to tell you much about this.
So see, it wasn't just me.
It's not you ever. Well, something's up with their website.
It's buffering, hopefully.
Brisket is a cut
One
of
more
beef
time.
that's been smoked for at least 13 hours. Bacon is a present pigs give you when you're good. Flatbread is a shape of bread. Arby's, we have the meat.
It's buffering again.
Is it still buffering?
Yeah.
Plays easier on my phone.
Yeah, it was a lot quicker yesterday, too.
We need a 10-year-old.
Yes, no joke. No, they're having trouble on that website, so we didn't okay this with them, I guess.
So is it not no play or not?
Something's up with their website.
A break, maybe we can look at it.
We can try it again, yeah.
Commissioner, apparently it's not going to happen. We'll try to get this fixed at break. It worked yesterday.
That's great.
then,
We
I was able to get, I posted one picture here from, this is our crew. This is both ways when they overlapped and they met to debrief to get back home. So that's a pretty good shot of the guys that were there that, like Commissioner Cox said, sacrificed, gave up family time and effort to participate with South Carolina.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get that video squared away at break and play that for y'all.
Thank you very much. And we're real proud of the boys. We know they made us look good in Tennessee with our organizational stuff. So thank y'all. This time, I'm going to ask Chris Richardson, Special Counsel to the Director on Legislative and Legislative Liaison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The work that TWRA does in conservation arenas, wildlife, fisheries could not be accomplished without partnerships with other organizations. One of those organizations is the Tennessee Valley Authority, and they have stepped up in so many ways, whether it's non-game, whether it's fisheries, tailwater hatcheries, access areas. The TVA is a huge partner for us, and we wanted today the commission and the agency to recognize them for some of those efforts. And we have a resolution And Mr. Chairman, I'm going to read the resolution, and then I'm going to invite Rebecca Toline, who's Vice President of Natural Resources for TVA, to come up. A resolution to express appreciation and to honor the Tennessee Valley Authority for their significant efforts and contributions in support of the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission, and the many sportsmen and women of Tennessee. Whereas the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission, along with the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, has statutory responsibility for the preservation, protection, enhancement, and management of Tennessee's fish and wildlife and their habitats for the use, benefit, and enjoyment of the citizens of Tennessee and its visitors. Excuse me. Whereas the Tennessee Valley Authority, a corporate agency of the United States that provides electricity for business customers and local power distributors serving 9 million people in parts of 7 southeastern states, has a focus and dedication to support outdoor recreation opportunities in Tennessee. And whereas TVA manages 33 reservoirs in Tennessee that have a combined surface area of about 300,000 acres and about 7,000 miles of shoreline. TVA manages recreational, natural, and cultural resources on more than 170,000 acres of public land around these reservoirs and partners with state, local, and regional stakeholders to improve water quality, shoreline conditions, outdoor recreation, and biodiversity. And whereas TVA has been a longtime supporter of the TWRA, partnering with the agency to build numerous boat ramps, courtesy piers across Tennessee to improve boating access for Tennessee hunters, anglers, and recreational boaters. And whereas TVA has spent millions of dollars over the past 25 years to improve the water quality in the tailwaters below several dams by adding oxygen and constructing weirs, resulting in world-class trout fisheries and the successful recovery of many aquatic species of concern. And whereas TVA has exhibited a consistent dedication to anglers through the support of fish hatcheries in Tennessee, including numerous projects at our state-owned warm water hatcheries, and most recently, the federal hatcheries at Dale Hollow and Irwin, where TVA has agreed to provide funding for Tennessee's federal hatchery operations. And whereas the hatcheries at Dale Hollow and Irwin are vital to TWRA's ability to meet the demand for quality trout fishing in Tennessee, the hatcheries produce over 1.5 million trout each year, providing opportunity to 150,000 resident and non-resident anglers in 13 TVA dam tailwaters and reservoirs in Tennessee. And whereas the TWRA looks forward to a continued partnership with TVA to complete additional projects that enhance the fish hunting, fishing, and outdoor recreation opportunities in Tennessee. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission and the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency honors and publicly expresses its sincere appreciation to the Tennessee Valley Authority for their efforts in support of the Commission, the agency, and the sportsmen and women of Tennessee. Mr. Chairman, that's the resolution, and I would say specifically, and maybe Rebecca can talk about it, but the recent agreement regarding Dale Hollow and Irwin, those hatcheries would probably close if not for TVA, and we really, the sportsmen and women of Tennessee really need to recognize and appreciate the financial contributions that TVA is putting in. So, with that, set this here.
Thank you. That was a lot of whereases. As a representative from TVA's Natural Resource Group, I just want to say thank you for this recognition. But more importantly, thank you for the partnerships that we're doing out on the ground all across Tennessee. As a Tennessee girl, born and bred myself, I would like to take a moment to just reiterate what we've already heard today. The professionalism and capability of the TWRA officers in the field that I deal with all the time, it constantly amazes me. And so congratulations to the Commission for having such a good team out there doing such great work. And TVA enjoys being a partner with you guys on these great projects. So thank you.
First official action.
He jumped up. Thank you very much. Reeves? Okay. Thank you very much. We greatly appreciate that. Mr. Bill Reeves?
Mention that this year, one of these things that TVA and TWRA have done together, and this was mainly TWRA because they put all the money up for it, but we will now have signs at all of our birding sites around the state. We've had them for several years, the sites, but we've never had the signs for them. TVA volunteered to pay for all the signs, not only on their land, but on our land, to the tune of about $29,000. So, and they just volunteered to do that, but that's the kind of relationship that we have.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you again for everything TVA does and helps partner with us on our fish hatcheries and all the lands around the state. We greatly appreciate it. I want to back up just a minute and recognize Shane Hall for just a second, just from a moment of freedom. Seeing you come in, we recognize a special guest. So, next is Mark Goodland, the Chief of the Wildlife Division. Come on up, sir.
Good morning. Each year, the TWRA recognizes an outstanding wildlife biologist and wildlife technician of the year. This year's the wildlife biologist is the first one I'll present, and I have the pleasure of presenting those awards this year. And the biologist award comprises anybody that's in the wildlife biologist or wildlife manager ranks in the agency, and it's really an honor to work with the many talented and dedicated biologists that we have, and sometimes makes picking an award recipient difficult. But this year's Wildlife Biologist of the Year is James Wally Akins. Wally serves in Region 3. He's been with the agency since 1996, served as a wildlife officer, Chickamauga WMA manager. He was one of our TWRA cooperative biologists with NRCS, and currently serves as a Region 3 biologist, handling the small game issues, miscellaneous WMAs, and also private lands. Along with being a solid and experienced biologist, Wally has the ability and vision to think outside the box, and has the talent and drive to turn these good ideas into reality. Examples of his planning and work are 2 habitat projects in Region 3, shortleaf pine restoration and the Pea Ridge WMA. Over the last several years, Wally has worked closely with the TWRA foresters and a nature conservancy to develop a shortleaf pine restoration project on the Cumberland Plateau. And as a result of these planning efforts, TWRA and the Nature Conservancy were awarded 2 $75,000 grants from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation in 2013 and 2015. And as a result of those awards, to date, 250 acres of shortleaf pine have been planted on the Catoosa and Bridgestone Firestone WMAs, and complement an additional 1,400 acres of pine savanna habitat being managed by agency personnel. Ultimately, this project has identified long-term management goals for restoration and preservation of native shortleaf pine, woodland savanna communities on some 3,100 acres in Region 3. The other project is the Pea Ridge WMA, which encompasses approximately 1,500 acres in DeKalb County. And Wally has the vision of making Pea Ridge WMA a premier small game area that will also serve as a demonstration to landowners on how to take marginal habitat and turn it into excellent small game habitat. He's already coordinated beginning the conversion of fescue fields into native vegetation, and also has worked with our agency forestry personnel to plan and schedule timber sales targeted to convert those sites into oak pine savanna. And Wally's vision, planning, and follow-through are seeing this come to fruition. Wally also demonstrates his leadership in other ways, such as serving currently as the chair of the Tennessee Prescribed Fire Council. He served on the Grassland Committee on the TWRA Strategic Plans Committee, and also represented Region 3 in the development of and planning on the quail focus area on portions of the Bridgestone Firestone WMA. This is all in addition to Wally's other regional responsibilities, including private landowner technical assistance, the regional Dovefield lease program, and administering the regional fur bearer program field trial permits. In a nutshell, Wally is a consummate wildlife professional, and his tireless work ethic, professionalism, and overall enthusiasm for his job make him a tremendous asset to the TWRA. Wally lives in Lenore City with his wife Ashley and his young son Henderson. Wally? TWRA also has many talented and dedicated wildlife technicians, most of which work on our management areas. These guys often do much of the heavy lifting, both literally and figuratively. And like many other agency employees, they don't tend to work here for the money for sure, but merely for their love and dedication to the resource. And many of these technicians bring with them trade skills and certainly could be earning more money elsewhere, and we are just truly blessed to have them. And this year's Wildlife Technician of the Year goes to Jeff Womack, who works on Hiwassee Refuge in Region 3. Jeff has been with the agency since 2007 and has become an integral part of making the Hiwassee Refuge run successfully. His knowledge of farming practices and equipment helps in decision making with crops for the refuge and the 4 waterfall units. He's also a seasoned mechanic and has saved the agency thousands of dollars through the years by repairing tractors and equipment. And because of his mechanical expertise, there are very few mechanical issues that need to be handled by private vendors. Jeff also has great welding and fabricating skills. He has a real talent for creating needed items with little to work with. A great example of this was the work Jeff accomplished designing, fabricating, and installing a walkover bridge at the Rogers Creek Waterfall unit. Jeff participated in the design of this bridge, offering several ideas that were incorporated into the project. And more importantly, he was able to take these ideas and fabricate portions of the bridge that were used in the installation. And this bridge greatly enhances hunter access to the waterfall unit. Jeff interacts with the public well, is always polite and courteous during events such as the Sandhill Crane Festival, youth hunting events, the Sandhill Crane Hunt Drawing, and working deer check stations. He always has a great attitude and is willing to do whatever is needed. Due to his knowledge and length of employment, he knows what needs to be done and always takes the initiative to complete the job. Jeff is a longtime resident of Meigs County, and he is married to Diane, and they have 3 children and several grandchildren. He and his wife are also active members in the American Cancer Society, raising large amounts of money in several events through the year. And in the past, Jeff has spent 17 years running the Big Springs Dairy Farm and also worked several years for Valley Farmers Co-op in Decatur. Jeff, congratulations.